Hello there people, this is Christian. Welcome back to my computer and this image that we will try to reproduce in Autodesk Fusion. We have this circular vase and we have a square vase, but I will try to make a cube in this design. I think that was a question, but it's a square version. So where does this question come from? It comes from Reddit, the Fusion 360 user section. How can I replicate this geometric design? And the person has already asked this question in Blender. But there's a sub-menu here, that's why I made a square one. How can I replicate this geometric design on a square shape or other prismatic shape you want to do it in? I'm going to try to make it a cube, but I will start by doing the cylindric version. There are some similar things between the two workflows. And for you who want to jump back and forth, I would try to put in timestamps when I start doing the square or cube version. While we're looking here, let's have a look at the design a bit more. We have a repetitive pattern around. We have a repetitive pattern. There are similarities. My design intent to make in this square is quite obvious that these prismatic faces here, you can see it by the render also that these are flat faces that catches the light easier. And I want to do the same thing on this design here. I want this to be, all these faces to be flat. That catches light easier, creates nice shadows and stuff. If I make them rounded or curved in some version, you will not get that. You can slightly see in the render that all faces is basically lit the same way. Render tells us that if they were bent, we will have like a shading across the section, and that's what the design I want to do. Or at least I guess that's really the design intent. So let's jump over to Autodesk Fusion. I have a save file here, angle of a cylinder, just to kick off the automatic recovery function so that it's working. Or we start by saving. And we're going to create a sketch, so it's going to be some geometric playing around. I will not make this design fully parametric. That's step number 2. A lot of people try to break down geometry, and I can show you do this in some smart way, but I like to learn or show you how I break down geometry. So we're going to start with a sketch. We're going to start with a sketch of the top plane or of the XY plane. So we are looking from the top, we can see it over here. So the first thing I need to do, I need to decide about outer diameter. Make it a construction, click here on construction line. If you're a beginner at Fusion, please go through some basic tutorials before you start following this type of tutorials, because I can't show everything and I will miss something because I'm just working through the geometry. So let's start with circle. I made a construction, you can see with dashed lines. Let's make it 125 millimeters. That's going to be like a reference. And if we look at the design one, we start with cylindric here. We have like these repetitive section. We need to like add up, so we fill up a cylinder. So this is like one section. I need to decide how many. I think there are 12 here, so let's do 12 again. And what I really need to design, I don't need to design the full 12. It's enough for me to design half of it. You can see how the faces of this face and this face are mirrors, this face and this face, and so forth. So I really only need to design half of one section. So let's do this. We're going to do some lines to help us. Turn off construction line. So I'm going to draw like a pie part here. I'm going to go over here. Going to go here. Make sure I get the horizontal constraint here. Hit the line over here. Go up here. So this is like a pie section. I'm using escape to turn off a line feature. I'm going to move it slightly out of the way. So this is going to be one section. D for dimensions, I'm going to dimension the angle of this section. We have 360 degrees in one revolution. Let's say I'm going to make 12 sections, so divide it by 12. But I'm really designing half a section, so I'm going to divide that by 2 once again. And I get this little nice triangle. I'm going to finish sketch. You could do the design on meridian planes. I like to do them sometimes on an offset plane just to understand where I am. We could use angle plane at angle, but I'm going to use offset plane. Select the plane here. Distance to object. Select any point out here on this line, and I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to open up our browser. We can check things. We have a fully defined first sketch. We have a new plane here, so I'm going to create sketch. Can select the plane here or select the plane out here. Let's do it in the browser. You can see because I used offset planes, I get this little origin point still projected into the offset plane. But sometimes change it around when you do other versions of planes. So let's see. P for project. I want to project in this short line here that represents the face of one segment. Hit OK. Hide the first sketch. Do a look at. This line is of course for reference. I'm going to turn it into a construction line. So step 1 now, we're going to create a parallelogram. Let's look at the part again. If we let's say I want to make this part here. So we are making half. We're not making both sides. I'm going to make one side. And if we're looking at this from straight ahead, we will see 2 horizontal or vertical lines and then 2 parallel lines. So I'm going to sketch that. Create a line. I'm going to sketch down like that. Make sure I get help. In this case, it's add the parallel constraints. I prefer horizontal vertical, but let's use what Fusion wants to do. So we've done this, and of course we need to break this down the middle later. So we're going to do a line, in this case a construction line, because I only want one single profile. Going to make it like that. So this is like the top face and the bottom face. So we have like our basic geometry. Now we need to add some constraints. Let's have a look at the part. If we look down here, you can see one of the parallelograms. To make this look good, you want the point here and the point here, like the furthest out point and the closest point to the center of the cylinder. They need to be on the same plane. You can see here by the cut. The cut goes through this point and here. So we're going to add those constraints. We're going to add a constraint to the mid of it. That's here, over here, and this point over here. So we're starting to get some constraints, okay, like definition of lines. These are now defined in width in this direction. What we have not decided is like, the height of this part. So this height is later going to be used in a rectangular pattern to spread this part up and down in this direction. So we can use this to drive our design slightly. So we're going to do dimension. Let's make this 12 millimeter. Sure, I'm going to do 12 millimeters. I'm going to use this later. And now I think, oh, I forgot to name this parameter. So I'm going to open up my change parameters. Open up my design. Let's find sketch number 2. And that's the last dimension added. So I want to call that height. Like that. We can call the height section just to remember that's the height for one section. And I'm going to use that outside of a sketch. I'm going to turn that into a favorite. That means I can later change this and do some small manipulations of a design. Gonna hit OK. Gonna finish sketch. And now we're going to make an extrude. We need to make one of the parts. We're going to extrude. Select the profile. Distance we can do 2 objects. Let's do it to the origin point because that is the center of our cylinder. Gonna hit OK. And Fusion starts thinking. Thank you. So the thing is now, how do we create this face? We could do sweep, you could do other things, but there's a good tool in Fusion called draft. So first of all, I need something to control the draft. So I'm gonna make plane at an angle. Select our construction line in the sketch here. As you can see, I have auto hide turn off a sketch. That's why they stay visible. If we have a look, this sketch is now aligned to the original sketch plane, and we want to rotate that 90 degrees. And we're going to go in and modify and find the draft tool. So pull direction is going to be our little plane. Faces is going to be this face here. You can see it already flips over because it remembers all numbers I used earlier of angle, but I don't want a one-sided. I want a symmetric draft, so both sides. But it might be, so let's do it 20 degrees to start off. Let's end it like that. The thing is, we didn't create a sketch of the plane, so we need to hide it manually. So that looks good. We're going to hide our second sketch and turn on our first sketch because we want to make the pie part of this now. That's visible. E on the keyboard for extrude. So that's going to be the one we're going to do. I'm simply going to do this symmetric distance, select all, switch it from cut to intersect. Hit OK. And we have made like half of a section. So let's keep on building up the part now. S on the keyboard because I want to do a mirror. Of course, we can find it under create and other stuff, but I have, sorry, wrong key. There I am. As I have added to the design shortcuts, body, yes please, that body. Across what? Across the face here. No, not the plane. I want to mirror it across this plane here, or the face here. Operation join, yes please. So we have made like one of these part. Once again, S, because I'm going to use pattern. And if you can't find the command, S on the keyboard, start typing rectangular pattern, and you find it. Of what? Of this body. The axis gonna be straight up. Make sure distribution is set to spacing. The distance, we're gonna use our parameter we made our favorite earlier, the height parameter, like that. And now we need to decide how many. It was 12 millimeters, so let's do a couple of more. Something like that. Here's something like a bit of a taste what you want to make. I'm going to hit OK. If you look at the browser, we have a bunch of bodies, so I'm just going to do a window selection of all of them and use the combine feature. Make sure it's set to join. Hit OK, so I get down to one body. So now we have this like angled top and bottom, so we're going to remove those. We're going to use split body. Select the body. The first one is easy. We can use, because I sketch and use the origin here, point here as mine, so I can use the origin plane here, cutting off the bottom of the design. I end up with two bodies. Let's see which body highlights. You can see I can also do a big, okay, that's the body I want to say, body 8. This one I want to remove, so I'm going to right click and do a remove. So we are split off that. I can hide the sketch. Now we want to cut off the top, so I'm going to make an offset plane. Select the plane here, distance to object. We want it to all the way to this point here. Gonna hit OK. Gonna do a split body, select tool, the plane, gonna hit OK. This is very repetitive. Have a look, it's the body 9 I want to remove. Highlight that, right click and do remove. Hide the plane because we didn't create a sketch on it. So we make like one section now. S on the keyboard. I have a rectangular pattern here, so I can pick that up and I can easily change it to a circular pattern. Select bodies, select axis. I can select the edge here now, and we did that earlier. 12 should be the number. I hit OK, and we have made like this nice vase. It's still not combined totally, so I'm going to mark all of it. Do a combine. Make sure it says join. Yes, please. Like that. We have, let's put some nice color in it by using component color cycling. So we are make like a solid now. If you're going to make a vase print or a spiralized print on a 3D printer, in most cases you want the solid. The slicer will do the removal of the top. You will add bottom layers, and then you just run the outer part with the nozzle. If we want to do, we can of course do a shell just to have a look what will this look like. Let's do it 1 millimeter. And the geometry is nice and easy, so it should have no problems creating a shelled version of this. And I have a perspective with autofade. That's how the looks have a perspective view of things. So this is a cylindric version. We can now change some things. I just want to show you that. It's going to be the same later. Let's say I want to change the draft angle. So I'm going to find it under our change parameters. Find the draft. The draft is now, we made a symmetric one, so we have two angles here. To make sure I don't mix this up, I'm going to set D9 to the same as D8. Like that. Nothing happens in model, but now I can change one number, 30 degrees. I can even make it more sharper, like 45 degrees. So you can do like basic changes of things to make it 20. We should be able, if we open sketch 1. Sketch 1 was the diameter. We want a bit smaller, maybe only 100 millimeters. And it updates. The problem is we can't change the number of section or number of repetition when we need to do more changes within patterns. If we want to do, we can now spend the time and make like a fully parametric model where we can change the number of levels in this direction or the number of sections around and so forth and play around. I simply click OK here now. So am I pleased now? Yeah, so I'm gonna save this like that. So we have made a save. So that was the cylindric version. Let's have a look at the design. Sorry for the zooming. Very well. Let's say we might make this square. I would try to make it into cube. And for the fun of it, I will try to use the famous Fibonacci sequences. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this direction, and by mistake I leave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Fibonacci is 5 and 8. I bet that like good. Fibonacci sequences are very nice to use in like when you do patterns and you want to play around because they look good for some strange reason. So we are now in the square design. So step 1, I like to make myself some help and think about things. Let's say we want to take a sketch from the top. I'm not totally certain how I'm going to make this, so this is going to be interesting. I'm going to start with a rectangle. I'm going to make it a construction one. And I'll make it a center rectangle. And I'm going to make it like this. I will not add any dimension right now. And I'll make these two equal. Sorry, I use the equal constraint between the sides because I want to make a square. So we need to decide about the width of this one. So let's say this is going to be 130. Oh, we can make it 150. Make it larger. It changes everything when we change dimension. Only joking. So I normally try to avoid putting geometry on top of geometry, but in this case I'm going to make a second square. This I'm going to make in normal lines. I'm going to make it like that. I can add a coincidence between this point and this line here. Keeps in this direction. And I need to dimension this. This, of course, let's say, as I wanted to use the Fibonacci sequence, so dimension of this line, oops, sorry, not that one. The dimension of that line should be that one divided by 5. That's my desire to make that 5 of that. So we now try to make this corner here using a similar workflow we did previous. I'm going to finish sketch. Once again, I like to do an offset plane here too. I'm going to take this plane, distance to object, simply select any corner object here, create a sketch on this part here. I will project in. We can take the back line here like that. It's easier to select. Open up our constructions here. So what we need to remember now is that this line is one full sequence. Look at the image. The line we've made is one full sequence here. We need to remember that. Let's go back. So we're going to start something similar. We're going to make an we're going to make lines. We're going to make a parallelogram. We're going to make a line like this, up like that, and that. You recognize this from the cylindric design. Going to make these parallel. We're going to make a line. Now a construction line. I want the center line of this. Like that. And as I said, this here now is one full width of a segment. Let's look at the image again. Is full width. So this parallelogram is basically the one I made down in the corner here. It means it needs to connect to the center point of this line. And then up like that. Let's see if we can do that. We're going to make a coincident between this point here. And let's find. If we can't find the center of the line, we hold down Shift. And you see the triangle. If I release Shift, I don't get the triangle, so I want that point. And I want this point here to connect it to this. So let's say I want to make this a cube shaped. Let's start thinking. This has to be some careful thinking sometimes. I want to weight this 8 in the height to, let's see, what parameters do we have? We created a parameter in our first sketch here, this here. This is D2. This is the full width. That's the full section. Now I'm thinking, I'm sorry about that. 150 divided by 8. Shall we do that? So I feel like this line here should be 150 divided by 8. Let's do it like that. Let's see if we can get some. The idea is to make 8 in the height here. So let's finish sketch. Extrude. Let's turn our previous sketch because I only want to create like this corner section here. So we're going to distance to object, select the back of this here, hit OK. We're now going to make our little construction plane, or plane at the angle, select line. We recognize this from the cylindric workflow. It's the same, 90 degree. S on the keyboard, find the draft tool. I'm working a bit faster now because you already see me do basically the same things. Pull direction, our sketch plane, faces, this face here, switch it over to symmetric, 20 degrees. Yeah, let's do that. Let's hide our sketches. Let's hide our plane. Let's do a mirror. So S on the keyboard. I have a shortcut here, so I'm going to pick up mirror, body across this face here. Let's have a look from the front, how we align to the meridian point. Can I use that for cutting later? Yes, I can do. So we have now started like the corner here. So let's fill this up in this direction first of all. Did we have a name for that parameter? So let's have a look. We're going to do a pattern, so we need a distance or the spacing. And we have that one here, 150 divided A, so that's called a D4. S on the keyboard, rectangular pattern of bodies. In what direction? In the Z direction. And we said spacing, that the parameter was named D4. You can see we pick it up, and we want to make those 8. Ooh, look, that looks so beautiful. We're gonna hit OK. And let's see. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna select all of these. Do combine, so we combine into one body. And just for fun, my plan was to make it 150, and I'm gonna cut it off down here and up here. That is not the correct direction, so I think it's gonna be like 8.5. We can change that later, so let's just stop here now. This is just me stupid thinking at the same time. Split body, select this here, select this plane here, because we want to the same we did with the cylindric workflow. We're going to cut away the bottom. Let's see, let's open up our body browser. We want to keep that body. We want to remove that part. We're going to make an offset plane of this distance to object. Select the point we want. We don't want the top point here. We want this one here. We're going to do a split body. This body, our new little plane. The plane has done its job, so we can hide it. Let's see which body do you want to keep. Is that body? Sorry for me coughing here. Remove that part. I'm going to sip on my water. So we have made like one section part here. We can fiddle around with the hive later. I thought that correctly, but I'm thinking wrong here. But we're going to make something square. That's going to be fun. So now we're going to, of course, pattern this direction, but I like to make the mirror part already here. Do we have any designs we can use for creating a mid-plane here? Let's see. I want to make a plane between two faces so I can mirror this part over. So we can do construct. Let's do a mid-plane between this face and this face. That's going to create the 45-degree plane we need for the mirror. S on the keyboard, we're going to do a mirror of what? This body across this plane. And I want it to join. I want to make a new body so we can use it later. Is this the smartest way to do it? No, I'm going to cancel that. Sorry. We're going to keep that plane. We're going to use it later. Let's first of all do rectangular pattern. Let's pattern this correctly because we're going to mirror all the bodies we need. So let's pattern this body. In what direction? We're going to do it in that. Oh, we need the parameter. How wide is this part? Let's go back and look at our parameters. That is the parameter what we call D2. S on the keyboard, rectangular pattern of bodies in this direction. The spacing is D2. How many? Well, we were supposed to do 5, so I need to at least do 3 to get beyond. Can turn on meridian. I need to go beyond meridian point. We could do all 5, but I'm trying to make just the corner. Sorry about the hide the body, hide meridian point. Like that. Now I can do a mirror. So we're going to turn on our little mirror plane we made. Yes, we're going to do a mirror. We're going to mirror bodies. Yes, we're going to mirror all of these bodies across this plane here. Not adjoining them, still new bodies. Hit OK. And as we can see, the corner here becomes a really strange body, which we don't like. So we need to start by combining these two bodies. So we're going to make that body. And hold down Control. Let's see if we can find the corner of other bodies. So we have 2 bodies selected here. I'm going to do a combine. And in this case, we want to make an intersection. So we only keep that's what is from both bodies. Going to make like that. And we end up with the corner body here. Now we're going to select all the bodies. Once again, do combine. In this case, you get a bit confused because I do this intersection. No, I want to join all the bodies now. So we have created like this corner part here. Let's hide the plane. So what we need to do now, we could use a circular pattern or we can use mirror. So let's see if mirror can handle this. Mirror, body, yes please. This body across this origin plane here. Join, so it joins everything together. I'm gonna use the keyboard shortcut or mouse shortcut by holding down the right mouse button and dragging upwards. You can repeat the command mirror. In this case, it's gonna be this part like that. So yeah, we got like an ugly thing in the middle here. So what we simply can do, we can create a sketch at the bottom plane. We will project in the face up here. Gonna hit OK, finish sketch, E for extrude. Only select the center rectangle, distance to object up to the top. Oh, sorry, not that one. Up to the top, like that. I'm gonna hit OK after join, and we are giving one single full body. So of course, if we were to print this using Vase mode, you will be pleased now and just go over there or spiralized. But we might want to do the shell to have a look what it looks like. 1 millimeter like that. So the thing with this line, you get these sharp corners out here on a line. It's a bit hard to do the same thing with the inside. It might be good looking dragging this plane like halfway down here, so you get a bit of softer corner. I don't know, but you have to tinker around with. But let's see if we can fix what I was not pleased with. If we do an inspection from here to over here, we have a distance of 150 millimeters. Looking from the front, is that also square? Let's have a look. If we want to make it a cube shape, just for the fun of it, let's make like down there. And I want to make sure I switch over to like that. So that is always hard to read the numbers. Sorry, I'm going to zoom in. Where are you? 140 millimeters. There's something wrong there. So where did we do that? Let's have a look at our parameters and see if we can fix this model. We are going to have a look at here. Where are we? 150 divided by 8. I think that needs to be 7.5. What happens with our model if we do that? Let's have a look. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 8 sections by 5 sections. So we are following Fibonacci, what I like to do. And I'm going to select this up here and this down here. Make sure to switch. Now it measures like the angle, and if I do like that, I can see we now 150. So now we have a cube. The intent I have it. Sorry for me rambling around to play with my models, but I show you how you can do models and like decipher geometry. So this is like a cubed version of the previous. I'm gonna save it for now so I don't lose it, and we can do some minor changes, but if we're going to change the number of faces like that, yeah, we have to redo some of the combined. So this is like showing how I decipher geometry like this, finding a model. And after I made a model, sometimes I go back and do like playing around, making it fully parametric. But step 1, you need a model of a design. I hope you found something useful in my rambling here. And with that saying, take care, see you around, and goodbye.